Traders, how you doing, and welcome back to the channel. I know I've not uploaded in quite some time. I've been doing some work behind the scenes on the rebrand of my company to Simplicity Trading, which you can kind of see on those screens, and also kind of doing my office and other bits and bobs behind the scenes here. But I felt compelled to do a video as I've just closed out my first 6 months of trading for 2022, and I wanted to talk about it. And remember, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe if you like me. If you don't have to. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like. I've got to ask that because apparently it's good for the algorithm. I hate asking for it, but if you do like the video, hit the like button. If you don't, can't do anything about it really. So as I've said, I've just closed out my first 6 months of trading. I had an EU short position, which was my best position, funnily enough, on my last trade of that 6 months for 13% gain on my new strategy, my aggressive strategy. And that's led to me being on 17.4% for the first 6 months of 2022. I've made more money in 6 months before. I've had more percentage in 6 months before. But with what's happened macro-wise with Russia-Ukraine, with inflationary worries, with just where the market is in general, with where the global market is in general, the fact that I've managed to come out with 17.4% when conditions have been difficult, probably the most difficult conditions that I've faced in my career, on 17.4, and being very happy with that. I consider it my best achievement in trading to date. Now, I started off the year very good. I made 12% in January. Things were looking up, and obviously in February was where the Russia-Ukraine situation started, and since then I've had these inflationary concerns, global market concerns, etc. come into the market right now, which has made it very difficult for traders. Certainly traders like me. Some traders love this, some traders don't like it. For trend continuation traders like myself, this volatility can be difficult to handle. And really one of the best things about the 17.4% is I don't feel like I made 17.4%, if that makes sense. I feel like I should be on -5 or -10. I feel like my trading has been pretty poor up to that point. My win rate was significantly lower than what I'm expected to do because of what's happening globally. But the best thing that I've done in this 6 months is I've stayed consistent, I've stayed patient, I'm not trying to force the market, I'm not trying to force anything. And I've got my rewards because of that. And the biggest word here is patience. So most of my money and most of the gains that I've made have come towards the end of this 6 months, right? In February, March, and April, it was just really poor. I'll put all the results and all the trades I've taken somewhere on the screen here so you can see them. And you'll certainly see a lot of losers. And my biggest benefit is I've made up for those in relatively big winners. And then towards the end of the 6 months in May and June, I had essentially 3 trades, right? An EJ long, a GCAD short, and the EU short, which was my last position of the 6 months. That essentially has made me okay and into a positive percentage. Now, some people might say, well, that's luck. It's not really luck. It's purely down to my data. I knew that was going to happen. So you've got to think about the February, March, April, where it was difficult. You know, I was struggling. I was frustrated. I was annoyed. I wasn't resonating with any trades. I wasn't confident in any trades. And, you know, my results reflected that because I was losing money. But even though I was losing money, I wasn't losing a lot of it. You know, my -2%, my -4%, -5%. It was losses that I could certainly get back with one big month or a few big trades, which is essentially what happened. And when I was streaming on RT4X and, you know, soon to be Simplicity Trading, I was telling the members that this too shall pass. These things won't happen forever. There will be a break. There will be a few trades because that's what the data suggests. Those big trades will come. And that's exactly what happened. So GCAD and EJ, I think combined, I made about 14, 15% on that. So essentially from January, if we look into February, which was a negative month, March was a negative month, April was a negative month, and then we get into May and June. So that sounds easy to say in hindsight, right? Just 3 months of poor trading, but it's still 12 weeks every single day finding frustration in the markets because I couldn't get that trade. I couldn't get a real resonation. I couldn't get into any flow with my trading in those 3 months. Or 3.5 months actually, because it was towards the end of May where those 2 trades came. And this is where I'm proud of myself for, because previously I know in the February, March, Aprils, I would have overtraded. I would try to force the market, try to get my money back. Right, I didn't do that this year, and I haven't done that for quite some time, but, you know, certainly this year I felt a little bit more pissed off, let's say, with the market, and a little bit more frustrated with the market than normal, because it was difficult conditions, but I never did that. There's so many trades that I didn't take that would have been losers, so that's something that I personally am proud of. And because of that, i.e. that capital protection, I've managed to make 17.4% for the first 6 months, when really I don't think I actually deserve that. But even though my emotional state's saying I don't deserve that, it doesn't matter, because my data, my back testing, my edge will always play out, irrespective of what's going on in here. And that's what you guys need to think as well. You could be down, you could be up, or whatever you are. You just got to stick to your entry criteria, stick to your strategy, and trust that that data will come to fruition. And that's exactly what happened for me. So towards the end of May, I think I was on negative 1%. And I took a GCAD trade and I took an EJ trade. I also had no fear of taking these trades because, again, I knew that my data, I knew that these big trades would come. And GCAD, I think I got about 7.6. EJ, again, something roughly on the same 7 or 8%. I can't remember the exact thing. I'll put it up here. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting on 12.6% for the year at the end of May. Thinking that if I can get another couple of percent in June, it's actually looking pretty good. Now, my personal record is 33% on a year, i.e. consistent over the course of a year. And that's always my goal to beat at the start of the year. So I'm actually on to do that, which is great. Potentially that might happen. Let's see what happens at the end of the year. Now, not only was I on 12.6, the first 5 trades in June, 4 of them I lost, so I risked 2% of trade. So I was down 8%. One of them was break even, Euro NZD was a break even. So I was actually, before I took this EU trade, I was sitting on maybe around 3-point-something% for the year, return on the year, which, you know, I would have accepted because I understood that I should have been a little bit better, but I understood market conditions weren't great. And I also understood that most people in the market, i.e. probably non-traders, are getting absolutely battered, you know, down 30, 40, a lot of money. So me, I was talking to my friend saying, well, I'm up 3.6. He's like, I would kill to be up 3.6. So there's another way to look at it. But that last trade of June, the last trade of that 6 months, Euro USD short, daily chart, aggressive entry, i.e. my new strategy. The idea of this new strategy is I'm going to have a lower win rate but a higher payoff because we're being more aggressive than my breakout or breakout retest. And I got whatever, a 6.5R, 13% on that trade, and all of a sudden I'm 5% up on June. I've made 9% in May, 5% in June, and I'm sitting on 17.4% for the year thus far. You know, having that patience to say this is going to come good, the fact that it did is something that I personally am pretty proud of because I could never have done that in the years that I was learning in the past. So I always go back to how terrible I was as a trader to think how I am sitting right now, and it's a great intrinsic feeling. You know, it makes me feel good that I've done that, not over a period of a week, not over 2 weeks, not over a couple of days, over 6 months of trading, where 3 or 4 or 3.5 of them was very difficult. So it's such a good lessons in patience, in trusting your data, in knowing that everything is going to be all right as long as you have that edge, because ultimately your edge will play out. So anybody sitting there saying, well, Euro USD, you got lucky on the last trade. No, absolutely not, right? I stayed patient and disciplined through my first 6 months where I deserved that trade. Because I did the right things, I did the same things, I stuck to my strategy, I did not overtrade, I didn't over-risk, I didn't do any of that bad stuff, and I got my rewards. So if you're watching this in a tough time, always remember that phrase, this too shall pass. Because even if your mindset and your emotions and the way you're feeling about your trading feels one way, your edge doesn't care about your emotion. Your edge doesn't care about how you feel. Your edge is data, it's backtesting, it's statistics, and that will play out. Don't let this ruin that data. Stay patient and trust me, you'll get your rewards like I have. Right guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. There'll be lots more content coming up in the next few months. Just bear with me. I will be back to live streaming very soon. So if you want to see that, make sure you hit subscribe so you get notified. I think you can hit notifications if you want as well. Anyway, do all that stuff you want to do. If not, I'll see you in the next video. And remember, trade safe and you'll be fine. Peace.